phone my mum. My mum's like, "What's up?" I was like, "We're rich. I got 14 grand in my account."
Troy Deeney, where do we start? The man is a character, to say the least. Coming from a challenging home environment in Birmingham, Deeney didn't sign for a professional club until he was 18 years old.
My dad comes flying through the door, like door comes off the hinges, and my dad's rolling around with 2 police officers.
The Premier League, prison, that playoff goal.
Here's Hawk!
The plan was to literally get pissed Friday, get pissed Saturday, get pissed Sunday, and then figure out life on Monday, because I didn't have a job.
He tells us everything.
He was winning like 14-0, 15-0 every single week. It was a joke.
Love him or hate him, Troy Deeney is a name the Premier League will never forget.
My agent at the time was like, "You're going to have to kick off. You're not going to paint me in the best picture." I was like, "Who do I have to hit then?" I'm Troy Deeney, and I am an ex-professional football player for Watford, Birmingham City and Forest Green, and I am here to do perspectives with the guys from Rising Ballers. And you need one of them.
Wicked. Troy, welcome, mate.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it. Thank you for the tea.
No problem. So my first question is, can you tell us a bit about where you're from and what your childhood was like growing up there?
So obviously I'm Troy Deeney. I'm from Chelmsford Wood, a small part in Birmingham. Very low income housing, very workman-like, shall we say. Everyone helps each other out. But everyone was broke, so played a lot of street football, played a lot of games that, when you look back now, were probably questionable, jumping garages and things of that nature. Which, as a parent now, you think, I wish my kids would never do that. But just all the simple things we used to do, early 90s, play football. Yeah, man, just a simple man, really. I had a few troubles around the way, but football was always the out, really. Football was the one that was always made me happy, so I just did that all the time.
Were you a well-behaved kid?
Mm-hmm. A well-behaved kid, yeah. Do you know what I was? I was like, I like to make everyone laugh. I still do. It's kind of my nature to be like the class clown, essentially. But obviously there's another side to me as well, which doesn't like to be disrespected. So I kind of got into trouble sometimes, but most of it was all light-hearted, funny stuff. So like when I got in trouble at school, it was because I wouldn't shut my mouth. I was making jokes and I found school really easy because the answers were in the book. So I used to find the answers, scribble it, and then you're done in 15 minutes, and then just start throwing pencils at people and just being an idiot, basically. Go to the toilet and messing up another class. Then, it was just easy, and school didn't really stimulate me that much as well. So, if my kids ever see this, I'm banging trouble because I'm telling them the opposite. But all in all, mate, it was just boredom, really. I had a lower attention span really, really early on.
How did you realise, and sort of what point did you realise that you were very good at football?
Honestly, not until I was 22. Yeah, so I always had this complex. So I've got 4 brothers, and my oldest one, he's 31, Ellis. So he was at Aston Villa from the age of 6 to 20, and I'm sure in the research I speak about him a lot. So he was our way out. So there's 3.5 years difference between me and him. So every time he went to Villa, it was Monday, Tuesday, Thursday they train. I used to go watch, see what they were doing, and then try and mirror it with him, and practice with him in the garden or whatever it might be. For a long time we lived outside our house was 4 garages, and we used to play there. And it was just mirror that. But my brother's so talented, so talented. I tell him all the time. I think he's one of the sickest people ever. We argue a lot, and we don't see each other enough. But I tell him all the time, he's so talented. He could walk in here and you guys could show him once how to work these cameras, and he'd do it better than you tomorrow. He's just one of them people. He just picks everything up. Pisses me off, to be totally honest with you. But he's just so good at it. So anyway, I used to do that with him, and then like I never got asked to go on trial till I was like 14, because I used to play. I was like 6th pick. I was never last. I was never first. But I was always like, you always wanted me on your team. Do you get what I mean? And I used to play right back. Really? Yeah, as a kid, because our team, our Sunday League team, was so good that like, of our starting 11, 8 of them went to clubs by the time we were 12. We went unbeaten for like 7 years. And our goalkeeper, Tom, used to come with, Tom Russell his name was, used to come with a Beano magazine because he never had nothing to do. He was winning like 14-0, 15-0 every single week. It was a joke. Won all the tournaments, like the Butlins ones, the Mineheads, the Southport, we used to win everything. And then when it got to like 10, 11, 12, lads started going to Villa, Portsmouth, Blues, Derby, and then it was like me and a few others left. But we still carried on winning because we had a good team. And then at like 15, it was just like, I got bored of winning. It got become too easy. So I went and joined another team where I'm from. They had an open age team, but they were quite poor in terms of what I was used to. And just started playing there. Started playing men's football at 16 and just had a bit of fun with it, yeah.
Cool, let's sort of continue down that football journey, right? So made a few notes on what I saw online, but apparently you had a trial at Aston Villa when you were around 15, and then you skipped the first 3 days of the trial or something?
Yeah, so basically how that happened is you go on, so they came to like our Sunday League thing and they asked me, my friend Curtis Braithwaite, to go on trial. And it was like 5 days, but they gave you the itinerary beforehand. This is when people used to give things on a piece of paper. So obviously I looked at it, first day like an induction, training, match. But this was in the week off school, like Easter week. So I was like, Mum, why are we doing that? We'll just go to the match. And Mum was like, oh no, but you can't. And I was like, but I know what they're going to do because my brother's still at Villa, remember? So I know everything they're going to do. I'm like, well, I'll just go to the park with my mates and I'll just play the match. And if they want to sign me, it'll only be based on the match anyway. And obviously I was quite stubborn at 15, so my mum was like, okay, do whatever you want to do. Went there for the match and they were like, we're not playing you. You've been here all week. And I got like 5-10 minutes at the end.
So they still gave you a bit of a chance?
Yeah, just because I turned up, I think they were like, you can't leave him. But yeah, I kind of ruined that before it started really. But I was more interested at 15 in chasing females and trying to be hard at the park. So yeah, that was that dream dashed really.
Can you sort of take me through the journey from there, from like, that trial to like signing your pro? What happened?
Oh mate, so like I said, I went to another team called Chelmsford Town because everybody else kind of got picked up and went elsewhere, and I only went to Chelmsford Town because I had an adults team, and like my cousin. So I used to think my cousin was like the coolest kid ever. He had a diamond earring and I thought he was like the nuts. So my cousin Joe played there. All of the older kids that I had growing with at school, they played there. And I was like, oh, Joe, what if I could get into that team? That team to me was like Arsenal, like from where I'm from. That was the biggest and best team because all of the cool kids played there. They all went and had a beer after. They all went into town together. And it was like, to me, that was the level I want to get to. And the only reason I say Arsenal is because of where we are, by the way. It's not my dream team, but anyway. And then I just started playing there. I was 16. I couldn't even get in there. My cousin had to pay £30 because I owed £30, did subs. So they were like, he's not playing until he pays his subs. And I just played at 16. I was playing against 35-year-olds, 40-year-olds, 25-year-olds, you name it. Like it was just an open age football team. But then I started to think I'm quite good here because we had another kid who played in midfield with me, Lee Vaughan. He went on to play at Walsall, got a couple of promotions with Tranmere and stuff. He was in midfield when I got there, and after about 2-3 weeks, he moved on. So we only played a couple of games together. But we had like two really energetic midfielders. And as you can imagine in Sunday League, like, no, so it was Saturday League. So me and him, he's just getting moved to League 2 and Chelmsford Town's combination Midland Com League 12. Like it's far, like it's far away. You still paid to play. Yeah, we were just running around everywhere. We were good, man. And then he left, and then everyone was kind of like, Troy's the man. But bear in mind, these are all my mates who are good footballers and good lads as well. Now they're all saying at 16, 17 that I'm the man. Yeah. I was like, oh, this is when I started to think I'm all right. And then I played there till I was like, just as I turned 18, played one match. I've told the story a million times. Mickey Outsall come to watch his son, who was a Walsall scout, head of youth team there as well. He'd obviously heard about me, but his Walsall game got cancelled, so he came to watch our game because his son was playing against us. And I did all right in that game, and the rest is history.
This is what it says online. You scored 7 goals in a game whilst you were drunk, apparently.
The 7's not true. The other part's true. So I just lost my job on the Friday. Well, I say lost my job. I was a builder, so it come to an end. It's like we was building a doctor's, and it had finished. And you get your final pay packet. It was like 320 quid. Give my mum 120, and then I went out. I had a really good Friday, and like most builders do, we finished at 12, and I probably finished about 2, 3 in the morning. Got home, and I was still living at my mum's at the time. And my mum cleans every Saturday, so she was like, knock the door, get up, get out. My mum doesn't care if I'm drunk or not. She's like, get out. I was like, oh, okay. Looked at my phone. There's a game. Went and played football. Scored a few goals. And then the plan was to literally get pissed Friday, get pissed Saturday, get pissed Sunday, and then figure out life on Monday, because I didn't have a job. Like most people, really, you start sulking at it. And I played Saturday, scored a few goals. Didn't score 7, but I thought scored a few. Mick Outsall after the game was like, do you want to come to Walsall? But I'd never been to Walsall. And the way I can put it in an analogy, it's like being from London and not knowing where Watford is. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? I was like, where's this place, Walsall? But all I knew is that we drove past it if we were going to like Manchester, if we was going somewhere. But I never left my area at this point. So anyway, I go there. I go inside, and I didn't really think much of it. All I knew is that they give burger and chips out, and like there's a set amount, and there's like, let's say there's 20. Yeah. And I was thinking, this geezer's talking to me, he's a nice fella, but if I don't get in there, I ain't getting a burger and chips. And I've only got 200 quid to last me this weekend, so this is survival now. So I kind of brushed past him, and like, yeah, no problem. Go and have that. And then I played Sunday League the following morning, hungover, and then I just went to bed late. And then Monday mornings, like knocking the window, and what's going on here? Open up the top window, look down. What's up? You've got that trial. When? Like now? Okay.
Who was it knocking on the window?
This was a guy from Town, Mr. Brennan. I always say like he's the reason I play, because I wouldn't have gone. I was just been nursing a hangover, feeling sorry for myself, and cracked on. But I literally had my boots and the Asda bag caked in mud. I just threw on an Adidas trackie, brushed my teeth, jumped to the boat with him, fell asleep again all the way there. And as we get there, he's like, go on then, I got to go to work. And I was like, where are you going? Like, you got me here, how am I supposed to get back? He's like, you got no money? I was like, nah, did that in Mason's the other day. And he gave me 20 quid. And that's it. That's how I ended up at Walsall. And then the rest is history, as they say. Yeah. It's not anything that these kids should ever, look at me and go, oh, that's how I want to be. But yeah, just had an opportunity, and so I feel like it was all aligned. Do you get what I mean? Like, for my job to end on the Friday, I do believe in God and that. So I think like Friday my job ended. Saturday my mum woke me up. Monday, the person who's never been to my house before made sure I would have got there. Do you get what I mean? Like it's someone up there is going, let's just keep nudging this geezer towards this, because there's a path of destruction that he's going down. Let's just keep nudging him, and eventually he'll get it. And I did eventually. It gave me a perspective on what my life could be like, but I didn't want the council estate lifestyle for me and my kids. I've gone from earning £300 on a building site to £5,000 a week.
I just want to, let's pause the football story there, just to sort of rewind a bit. I've got a question here. Going back to your childhood, can you talk to us about your dad and your relationship with him growing up?
Yeah, my dad was my superhero and my biggest villain at the same time. So I love my dad to death, and he's dead now. So he's been dead 10 years. So he was a somebody around town, and he was my hero, man. That's it. But he did some bad things to me and my mum on the way through life. And it's only now I'm older, a bit of therapy and all that, you can start to understand it. So like the way to caveat it for me is, like, I'm 35, right? I got 4 kids. In normal life, a 35-year-old is still figuring shit out. My dad was 35 and was heavy, doing his thing in the streets, was on drugs, and then had me and my mum. And my mum had left him. Like people didn't say no to him. So now as I'm a bit older, it's like, oh, okay. So if my kids ask me questions, my kids think I know everything. And that's the way it should be, by the way. But really at 35, I don't, do I? We don't really know our arse from our elbow, if we're being totally honest. So he had some difficulties that kind of came out, lashed out on me and my mum, and it was tough. But it's weird, like he beat me up at it, but he's still my dad, and he's still the reason I am who I am today is because of him. So the morals, respect, principles is all him. Playing football, he was the first person to teach me how to kick a ball. Being able to look after myself physically, he taught me that. But the reason I'm so unhinged and don't give a shit is because of the things that he did as well. So it's like, can't have it all, I suppose. Can't have it all.
So I don't think it's a secret that you had a bit of a difficult childhood.
Yeah. By the way, you won't offend me, so don't worry. You can say whatever you want. Don't worry.
I'm just a polite guy.
No, I get it. But you won't. You can't offend me. Bear in mind, I've lived through it, so I kind of know the answer to this test. It's all on me. So
the difficult childhood. Yeah. Do you think, now you reflect on it, and obviously finished football, do you think that was a help or a hindrance in your football career?
Both. I think it helped me in my career because I know what nothing looks like. I know what it gave me a perspective on what my life could be like. And I don't want this to sound disrespectful by any stretch of the imagination, because I'm from that. But I didn't want the council estate lifestyle for me and my kids. And what I mean by that is go work a normal job, go on holiday once a year, struggle to make ends meet week to week. That I never wanted. Secondly, I saw the other route of that, which is the fast money and all of the madness that comes with that. Like I've spoken about before, me and my kid brother had bunk beds, and one day my dad comes flying through the door, like door comes off the hinges, and my dad's rolling around with 2 police officers. It's like 5 a.m. Do you know what I mean? It's like, wow. Look over, that's like, bear in mind, mid-fight, he's like, go back to sleep. And we're like, all right. Wake up in the morning, door's not there, dad's not there. Mum's like, oh yeah, he's got out of his mates. We're like, I'm like 6, 7. So 6 and 7, you believe everything your mum and dad say. So I was like, oh, dad must have been playing with his mates, and that's how it is. So like, I seen all of that, and you're just like, it's not normal, man. But at the time, it was our normal. And that's why I don't really use the word normal anymore, because I think my normal to your normal is completely different, and so on and so forth. But then I think if I'd have had the traditional route into football, I probably wouldn't have made as many mistakes I've made, since I've become famous, if you want to call it that, or recognisable, because you'd have had the teachings along the way of these are the steps, this is what happens. And like I just said to you before, like I was 18 without a job. I go to Walsall. By the time I'm 21, I've gone from earning £300 on a building site to £5,000 a week, and living in North London. And here you go, have it all. No one in my family's ever earned £5,000 legally. So do you know what I mean? So it was like, right, where's all this come from? So yeah, and then like your status within the family goes. So I was like Troy the kid, and now I'm Troy the provider for everyone. So if you need 100 quid, you phone Troy. If you need 20 quid, you ask Troy. Like it all just kind of come into that. And I'm not gonna lie, mate, it blew my head off. Absolutely blew my head off. I used to be like the 50 cents on the window shopper. I used to like be in the catalogue at my nan's and like, I want to get them boots, or I want to get that tracksuit, or now you got a card that if you just put your card in, you can get whatever you want. So I've told you before, but I got a 30 grand signing on fee at Watford, which equated to about, after they emergency tax the life out of me, about 14 grand I got. When I went to the cash machine, I waited up, by the way, payday, so like everyone used to, 12 o'clock. I went there at 12:02 at Hatfield's like shopping centre, put my card in, I had £14. Remember it used to tell you on the screen and that. Phone my mum. My mum's like, what's up? I was like, we're rich. I got 14 grand in my account. Yeah. She's like, huh? What? How? And I was like, I don't know. But when I finish this game tomorrow, I'm going to come home, we're going to go shopping. That was it. That's the limit. Do you get what I mean? And so, I didn't have no financial advisor, no one telling me, just relax, because if you do well, all this money will come. And then I'm running around with like 20 lads at the time, and I was like, we're going to have a fucking good night Saturday. Do you know what I mean? And that was it. The money was just coming quick and fast, and then, I weren't really prepared for it, if I'm being totally honest.
You didn't officially sign for a pro club till very late.
Yep.
You didn't spend your youth in an academy, but you still played at the top level.
Yeah.
What would you say to players in their late teens currently without a club?
Do you want it? And the reason I say do you want it is because people saying they want it and actually wanting it are two different things. So I would like to be a billionaire. Am I really prepared to sacrifice, give up everything, take unbelievable risk with the 1% chance it might end up being a billionaire? Probably not. Now I'm quite comfortable. Do you get what I mean? And I think that's the bit that, I'd love to do one of these one day with my brother, who went through the systems and all of that, and I'd like to hear his take on me. But I'm the kind of guy, you open the door a little bit, I'll figure out how to open it. Just show me what's possible through that side of the door. Do you get what I mean? Yeah. So to put it into perspective, when I went to Walsall, I was on trial for 6 months with a £50 trade ticket. It cost me 70 quid a month. £50 a month, they give me a trade ticket. It cost me £70 a month to get there. So there's a few times, I can say it now, but it's a run on the train free, and when a ticket inspector comes, we get off and get the next one and all of that kind of thing. But, that's a sacrifice. At that point, my mum's looking after me and my brother and my sister. She's working 2-3 jobs. Like, it's a hard thing for me to, as a man, and not everyone knows this, and if I'm lying, Bradley can tell you, saw the pictures that he saw of it. I was working since 11 years old. So I've done every job you've ever seen. I've glass collected, I've cleaned Ladbrokes, I've cleaned toilets, anything to get money, do you know what I mean? So now at 18, I'm looking at my mum grafting. I've got brother and sister in school, and I'm going, just don't worry about it, mum, let me just try this thing. And man, I just gave everything to it. everything. And that's where the story comes about. Like, so I've never really told the full ins and outs of it. So I would get up in the morning, get the train at 8, get to Walsall for 9. Walsall training would be from like 9 till 1, maybe 2. And Mick Housel, to be fair, was great for me. He used to say to me, like, going home already? Did you used to do that on the building site? I'd be like, yeah, you're right. So I'd go grab a bag of balls, I'd probably leave there like 4 o'clock. Then get home, help mum out with whatever I needed to do. And then around about 6 o'clock, I'd go on about a 4 or 5 mile run. But I used to run past every pub around our area, and it was quite a big lap. It was about four and a bit miles. So I used to run around that. And every pub I got past, and you know, if I'm lying, the lads can tell you, like, everyone was like, why are you doing that? Come in here, man. Because they had the nice motors, they were doing whatever, and I was just like, nah, don't worry about it. I'd run. Got home, eat, sleep, do it all again. I did that for 6 months straight. I went on loan to Hales Owen for nothing. Scored a lot of goals, did all right. Bear in mind, I was never a striker until I got into the pro game. I was a midfielder at that point when I got signed. And then they went, well, you're massive, like, get you up front, do you know what I mean? So I went up front. So even in that, like, learning a new position while as a pro. The only other one I can think of that's done that off the top of my head is Mikel Antonio, because Mix was a right back that went right wing that now he's played as a striker. So yeah, like, that's what I say to kids, like, do you want it? Because once I signed for Walsall, I was on £180 a week. I got the contract to prove it. I'll get Brandon to send you the picture. So £180 was the max I could earn at Walsall for a 2-year deal. Like, that's a sacrifice. I could earn a lot more. Probably could have earned more signing on at that time. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, like, how much do you really want it? Does it take over your every thought? It has to. You have to become obsessed with it, and obsessed with the learning, obsessed with the beating your teammates. And this is something I think is going out of the game now. Everyone wants to be friends. We're not friends. We're respectful because we're work colleagues. But at the end of the day, if you think about the construct of a team, strikers, how many strikers are in a team normally? 4? And they play 1 up front. So how could you be friends? Because if I'm the starting one and you're the second one and you're the third one, well then you want to be in his position, you want to be in my position, and I don't want to let you two take my position. So how can we be friends? We could be respectful, we could be cordial, but when we go out and train, we have a shooting drill. Do you want to let him beat you? Absolutely not, and vice versa. So you instantly become these competitors from the start, and that's what I figured out, because I was like, oh, these lads are cool. I want to be friends with them. And then after about 2 days, I was like, these lads don't give a shit about me. All right, you're next. And then I realised, because I don't want to be on the bench. I've never been on the bench since I was a kid. I go to Walsall on trial, I'm on the bench. Well, why has he started over me? Ask questions, say, what does he do that I don't do? Oh, he runs X amount of kilometres a game. Cool, I'll run all over him. What does he do that's better than me? Oh, his touch is better. Right, can you work with me every day to working on my touch? That's it. Go and ask. Don't be embarrassed. And I got friends to this day, like Michael Ricketts, Darren Byfield, Tommy Mooney. They were all the senior, like they were in their 30s. Don't be embarrassed. Ask stupid questions. I've never stretched before. And these lot are stretching and putting the glute like this and what's that? Yeah. Why'd you do that? And they look at me like, you all right? I'm like, no, I don't know what you're doing. I used to have like a couple of jelly babies and a Lucozade. That's my warm-up. Just because that's where I've come from. Do you get what I mean? Like, I'm not embarrassed by it. That was it. Like, tell me. Yeah, of course. They're like, nah, bro, this is stretching. You meant to stretch before. Have you been on the bike yet? What, you go on a mountain bike? No, there's a stationary bike. I've never seen a stationary bike. What does that do? I sit on there, you pedal. Oh, okay. Just stuff like that. Like, do you get what I mean? And that's what I'm saying by that is because you've got to be so like entrenched in it. You'll get loads of things wrong, but you'll practice it. And that's how I was with football. It was a shit show. But we got there in the end. So I was playing like left wing, right wing, coming on for 10 minutes. And I was like, oh, fuck this. Yeah. I just went out with my mates, just had a great time. I was out like 5 times a week.
Amazing. So can you talk us through the move from Walsall to Watford then? Like, what are your memories of that? And how did that come about?
It was a shit show. But we got there in the end. So I just signed with a new agent. And because it was like new, again, even this part's new to me. So everyone's like, oh, you're going to get a move, you're going to get a move. And I think the year I left, I was top goal scorer. I won Young Player of the Year and Player of the Year, I believe, at Walsall. I won 2, or definitely 2, maybe 3 awards anyway. And at the end of season party, I was wasted anyway. But everyone was like saying goodbye to me. But it wasn't like, see you after the holidays. It was like, thanks for everything, appreciate it. I'm like, what are you talking about? I'll be back in 6 weeks. And I got with this new agent because I didn't quite understand it. And I got with this new agent. He was like, no, look, I had Charlton that were in for me. I had a few other champ teams that were there or thereabouts. And I was like, okay, like, cool, don't really know what this is all about. And then summer progresses anyway, and then Watford were like front runner. And as I know now, Elton John did a concert that raised money because they were in bad financial trouble. And the money he raised, a large chunk of that went on getting me. Again, I didn't know any of this until probably about 5 years ago, to be fair, like the proper in-depths of it. And yeah, so when I went back first day of pre-season, like the lads were surprised to see me, but then I started understanding the business of football then. So my agent at the time was like, look, we're going to get this deal done really quick. Watford only want you. You know, they want to get you in there, get you trained up as quickly as possible, get up to fitness, and then you'll start. And it would have been me and Daddy Graham at the time. And anyway, but this starts dragging on now throughout all of pre-season. But I'm talking like, it's over like 50 grand, 20 grand. Like, it was like, Walsall went, no, not enough. And then Watford would come back. And let's say it was, I ended up going for 250. So let's say it was like 200 the first week. And then they'd wait till the next week and it'd be like 205. And it was like, we're arguing over like, nothing's here. So anyway, my agent at the time was like, you're going to have to kick off. And I was like, well, again, not going to paint me in the best picture. I was like, who do I have to hit then? Because at this point, I'm on £180 a week, and these are offering me 5 grand. Like, if I've got to hit somebody to get out of this place, then no problem. And they were like, no, not like that. Like, you got to kick balls away, you got to be last in the run-in, and this, that, and the other. And I was like, okay, that's easy. And I remember speaking to Darren Byfield at the time, and By said to me, like, look, this career is short, so if you've got a chance of getting your money, all you need to do is just tell the boys, look, I'm sorry, but I got to go. He said, the boys will understand, but don't speak to the owners, don't speak to the management, who was Martin O'Connor and Chris Hutchins at the time. And me and Skipper, Martin O'Connor, are really good friends to this day, but he was looking after himself. He knew for them to be successful and for them as a coaching staff to move, they needed me there because I was going to score them the goals. But yeah, for like 3 weeks where I just blasted every ball into different gardens, and yeah, I was bottom of the run-in. And it was a weird feeling because I felt I'm new into this and now I'm being a dick. This is 2 days before the season started. So I went down on the Thursday, went to Subway House, did all of my checks. Yeah, all good. Took my mum down. My mum drove a Ford Focus down. And we were buzzing. It was like, that's it, we're done. And they were telling us that Arsenal stayed in this hotel and it was this, and England have stayed, and we were like, oh my God, we cracked it. And then at 12 o'clock, they were like, deal's off. Really? What do you mean, deal's off? Yeah, got to go back up. Drove back up to Watford, Walsall. Got home, got a call at 7 in the morning. You need to go to this hotel in Walsall, the Village Hotel, Junction 10. Go there and have a heart scan. Deal's back on. What? Like, at this point, bro, no joke, I broke out in big, like, bumps of spots because I was stressing and that. Looked like I had acne, but, you know, like those kind of lumps. I'm stressing, go, what's going on here? Go there anyway, do that. Right, past all of that, now it's like 8 o'clock. The manager wants to see you at Walsall, and then it's done. Drove in, Chris Hutchins, put him in his office and went, I just wanted to shake your hand. Like, at this point, I nearly fucking dragged him around every room in that place. got my boots, jumped in the car, drove down to Beaconsfield, number 2, signed there. Jenny from Watford, I think she's at Spurs now, signed the contract, gave it to her. She drove me from there to the A something or other on the way to Norwich. The fitness guy picked me up from there. Bear in mind, I've never met any of these people before. Drive all the way to Watford. Me and this geezer, Martin Purty actually. Purty's now the assistant at Ipswich. Me and him just having this really awkward combo because I don't know him, he don't know me. He's probably pissed off he's had to come and pick me up. And then get to this hotel at like 4 o'clock-ish. Give me a key, go shower, here's your kit, here's your Watford travel kit. I walk into this room, Dale Bennett, and me and Dale laugh about this every time we speak. Dale's like, you know when someone's just finished the session, you take your top up and all the steam's like coming off his head and that. I've gone, oh, you're right, mate, I'm Troy, nice to meet you. And he's like, I know who you are. I was like, you're right. He's like, well, I was on the bench, but you're here now, so I'm not. So bear in mind, they put me in a room with a geezer that's like just been told he's been dropped. And obviously at the time, if it was like bonus driven, so I think he would have got like a couple of grand for being on the bench, and if he'd just come on, he would have got a bit more and all of that. But it triggered like certain things in his contract as well. So he's now steaming, genuinely steaming, and I'm like, well, can I use the shower then or what? So like, yeah, like he's a bit like it's every man for themselves at it, and yeah, I actually showered, went downstairs, pre-match, straight into the meeting. On the bench to play at Norwich on Sky, first game of the season. And I knew John Eustace, because I was captain, so we called him Skip, and I knew Daddy Graham, whoever called DG. Everybody else, I was just whistling. When I came on, after like 65 minutes, I was just whistling, like, give me the ball. Yeah. And oi, 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 like clapping and that, yeah. I must have looked like I was a complete stranger, but no, it was sick, man. The end result was perfect, but the 2 days before, well, the weeks before were just stressful.
So you got that move. I don't know whether you'd agree, but from my perspective, obviously it was stressful getting there. But it sounds like a bit of a dream move for where you were at in your career. More than that potentially. And correct me if I'm wrong.
I didn't even know where Watford was.
Yeah.
I just knew how much they were paying.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm going. Yeah.
It's pretty decent.
Yeah. I knew where Charlton was because I'd went there with Blues as a kid at an away day, and went in the back of an Enterprise van with the lads, and I thought. That was one of my best away days ever. So I knew about Charlton, never heard of Watford up until that point.
So you got this dream move, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it was within your first season you ended up going to prison, right?
No, I went to prison the second year, but the first year I fucked it up royally. Really? So when I got there, so I think I want to say I signed a 4-year deal. I don't remember. Maybe three with an option, maybe. But so I got there. Daddy Graham scores 2, and we win 3-0 against Norwich, who were the favourites at the time. Second game, they played the cup, and the manager was like, "Look, you've had no pre-season. I got to bring you off the bench again." Marvin Sordell scores a couple. So now the 2 strikers are already off and running. So I'm like, okay, I get it. I won't kick it off. I was like, okay, no problem. And then Daddy went on. I think Daddy scored 27 that year. Daddy was just like, whatever he touched went in, and he ends up getting a move to Swansea off the back of it. And Marvin, at the youth team, ends up getting 15, 16. So I was playing like left wing, right wing, coming on for 10 minutes. And I was like, oh, fuck this. Yeah. I just went out with my mates, just had a great time. I was out like 5 times a week. If I knew I was started, I'd stay in Friday. But if I knew I was, I'd go out Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
What are your reflections on that period?
It's weird, right? So obviously I've got a new missus now. We're getting married in the summer, but we talk about it. Reflection-wise, it was a waste of time. I should have just did the good things, but now like all the stories I could tell about and all the things I can go, all come because I was a bit of a madman. Do you get what I mean? Like so. In one aspect, me and my friends lived out a dream that we never thought was humanly possible. And I messed up all the football. And then, like I say, I go to jail the following year. But like, I didn't understand just how much power and responsibility I had, I suppose. I was just a kid at it. I was 21, about to be 22. Making more money than I could ever imagining my life and going out 4 times a week with my pals, and we were having a great time. And we were getting into little spats of trouble, but I was never getting caught. Yeah. And then every time someone questioned me, I'd score. So every time I scored, we went out. Every time the team won, we went out. And every time I didn't play, we went out. There's always an excuse to go out. Do you get what I mean? Yeah. But I was still getting paid. So even though I was messing up, I was being rewarded by being paid. Do you get what I mean? It's a really strange thing, and that's why it took me a while to get over it. And when I say it took me a while, so I was about 26, 27, because all the mistakes I was making, I was scoring and winning, and everyone was going, "Oh, Troy Deeney, Troy Deeney, Troy Deeney," and then, let's say, when I got in the situation, ended up we getting into jail. I'd scored 2 before that. By the end of the season, I finished on 15, 14, 15. I think it's 14. Yeah, 14. So a tragic moment hits where it could have derailed my whole career, and I knew I was on bail, and it was like goal, 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 goal. Now, that end probably was the reason I was able to go back to Watford, because if it had been before that, I think my Watford career to that point was like 5 goals in 2 seasons, maybe 6, and everyone was like, just get rid of him, man. He's a bust, don't worry about it. I didn't turn up on a Monday either.
Yeah, you didn't turn up?
No, I had a lot of cats that died Mondays.
You had that moment that nearly derailed your career, which we'll get into,
Yeah.
but like because you were scoring goals and your performance was on the pitch, that sort of pulled you through it, basically. Yeah.
Like from a business side, yeah. So Watford kept me.
So can you talk us through the whole jail experience? Like what happened? How was that experience for you? How did it impact your career? What are your reflections on it?
We spoke about divine intervention.
Yeah.
I think going to jail, and I have to caveat all of this. What I'm saying now isn't to glorify anything, because there's a victim and there's plural victims on the other side of it. So you can't. I always feel bad for that person and their family, because imagine someone's put hands on your child or yourself, and then for the next 15 years you keep hearing and seeing this guy all the time, and he's kind of being championed. Like it's a really strange thing, and I don't ever want to come across like I'm glorifying it. I'm just telling my story, and I've apologised numerous times to the family, and I know that will never come in hand. But to answer your question, I was in a dark place. So the first year at Watford, my great nan dies, my granddad dies, and then second year at Watford, I'm doing okay. I'm getting Daishi's trust back, and then my dad finds out he's got cancer in Feb, and yeah, so like for my dad finding out he had cancer to him dying was 9 weeks. So he just rattled me, but I didn't even realise I was drinking as much. And when I tell you what I was drinking, you're gonna be like, "Are you crazy?" But I was drinking 4 cans of JD and Coke on the way to training, and then another 4 on the way back, and then I'd drink when I was with the lads when I got home. So I was probably doing, more than the average human per day. And then that was like a continuous cycle for about 6-7 months. And then so obviously we finished the season. My dad dies, and through the lawyers was able to push the court date back so I could bury my dad. Because if I'd have I knew I was going to jail, I just didn't know how long I was going for. And the only thing I didn't want was to be burying my dad with my mum seeing me in handcuffs. Do you get what I mean? So managed to get that done anyway. Buried my dad on the Friday, got to jail on the Monday, and it was quick. It was quick, but it was the best thing that ever happened to me, because I was getting in trouble 3 times a week, easy, fighting 3 times a week, causing loads of madness along the way. I was drinking loads, with drink driving and all of that. Just being an arsehole, mate. But and I feel like it. Again, I believe in a higher power at it. So I feel like my dad said, look, I'll die, but let's sort him out. Do you get what I mean? Yeah. And then when I got sentenced, so I got sentenced to 10 months in jail. Did 3 in jail, 3 on tag. And then when I got in there, they were like, you got to go on an alcohol and drugs course because of the amount of alcohol that was in my system when I got arrested. I had to do bereavement counselling, had to do all these different things to get out anyway. And it's the first time I ever spoke to a psychologist. Because obviously they were like, so similar to this, like, oh, so where's mum and dad? I was like, oh, dad died. They were like, oh, how long ago was that? I was like, Friday. And they were like, what? I was like, yeah, like last Friday. Oh, and then we get into that. You start unpacking that. The alcohol thing, I never took that too seriously, to be honest, because I never thought anything bad of it, because everyone from my area drinks, so it was never a bad thing. But then when you go in there and you're in a class with genuine alcoholics, genuine people with drug problems or gambling problems, you're like, oh, this is where it could end up going to. So kind of gave me a little bit of a seed too. And then like the people in there just looked at me like I was an idiot. And I felt embarrassed, and like, when I say looked at me like I was an idiot, just because they were like, loads of them were like, you're a footballer, like, what are you doing in here? Do you get what I mean? Yeah, of course. And you're just like, yeah, you're right. You're right. So I did about a month in Winston Green, and then in Birmingham, and then they moved me from Winston Green to Warrington. It was like a Cat D open jail. And they put me in like the gym. So I just focused, man. In jail, you got nothing but time. So, you know, after the first week of sulking and watching Jeremy Kyle, you start to think it's time to sort it out. So, yeah, it was probably the fittest I've ever been when I came out and mentally clear. So I knew, and obviously, just to put it into context, Watford had got bought as well that same month. So when Mr. Pozzo took over, you had, I think they got 40 players or 38 new players, something like that. And it only got to 10 days before I was coming home when someone was like, I think Matty Vidra asked for the number 9, and everyone was like, yeah, you can have that. And I was like, but somebody else already got it. And I was like, who? And it was me. Yeah. And they were like, where is he? Like, no one, that's what I mean. I always feel like things happen for a reason. So how could Watford get bought? They bring in all these influx of players, new manager, new director of football, new chairman, all these things. No one knows me. And then 10 days before I come out, they go, well, who's that kid? And so while they're doing their investigation, remember, it's 2 weeks to get rid of me. So they have to do the background checks. Have I apologised? All of these things, because it's legally you can't do that. And then, by the time they were getting through that, I came home and it was kind of like, well, let's just see if he's any good. He's only got 6 months left. If he's no good, we'll just get rid of him. And came home and I was focused. Anywhere in the world, and someone would go, I saw your goal versus Leicester. The reason I didn't get any good call-up, probably not good enough, right? Yeah. Listen, if we'd have lost to Gillingham like 5-0 that weekend, I probably would have spoke to Dale and went, sat me, mate, because I can't figure this out.
Looking back, what do you think was the best moment of your playing career and why?
Would have to be the Leicester goal. I've only just started appreciating it now I'm finished. Because I always think we lost at it. We lost in the final, so it's a waste of time. But now, like, I can go anywhere in the world, and people might think I'm lying. I don't ever lie. Otherwise, my story would be a lot better. Anywhere in the world, and someone would go, I saw your goal versus Leicester. I know where I was at that. And I think in football, I could be biased. There's 2 moments in football where you remember where you was, and I think that's me and Aguero. Yeah. there's great times. So like when United won the treble, you remember the goal, you remember the match. You don't remember where you was or how you felt, and that's just my opinion. I don't know. You like old football fans, am I lying? I think they're the two. I don't think anyone can tell me another moment.
Is it talking like in terms of just the Premier League?
No, anywhere. Yeah, but it's just a moment when you're like, someone says, like, you know, Beckham's free kick against Greece. Yeah. It's a good moment, but you don't go, I was in that boozer doing this. But if I said to you, Troy Deeney, that Watford goal against Leicester, you go, bang, oh my God, that was crazy. You can tell me who the commentator was, how it happened, where it went, and where you was at that time. Same with Aguero. It was a wild goal. That's what I mean, yeah, but it's just two moments. And I feel like, you know, from a commentating point of view, everyone's trying to get that moment now. They're all trying to do it for themselves. And I just think it was so genuine and so authentic, both that and the Aguero moment, that you have to start appreciating it, because there's a lot of people, much better footballers than me, have had unbelievable careers, but have never had a moment. Yeah. And I can honestly say I've been to some lovely places around the world, some places that don't even have TVs, man, and they're like, you play for that team in the yellow. Yeah. And that genuinely was said to me when I was in the Maldives. Amazing. Guy was like, you play for that team in the yellow? And I was like, yeah, Watford. He's like, that goal you scored, man, oh my God. Yeah. I'm like, oh shit. It is, yeah, and it's just, I've been able to, live it and probably appreciate it a little bit more now that I'm older and my kids know it. They tell me it's been watched nearly 1 billion times. Really? Yeah, on YouTube and that, so yeah, it must be doing all right. I wait for that time of the year. It's coming up at it when it resurfaces again, so I should have got some money for that.
182 career goals.
Yeah.
In your opinion, why did you never play for one of the top 4 clubs, and why did you never get an England call-up?
Top 4 clubs, easy. Just wasn't good enough at the time, which is fine. Obviously, the big chance to move was Leicester, but it worked really well at Watford. It did work really well. I got paid tremendously well, and they paid me close to what the top boys were earning at that time. So you're in a situation like, do you want to leave? And obviously the fee that they wanted was high as well. So like when I was going to go Leicester, they wanted over 30 million. Leicester ended up going to getting Slimani for 30 million. Obviously he didn't work out too well. But if I'd have moved then, I'd have been playing Champions League with a team that won the league, with Vardy, Mahrez, Kante, and Danny Drinkwater. I probably would have got an England call-up at that point, because you've travelled and all of that. The reason I didn't get an England call-up, probably not good enough, mate. Yeah, to be totally honest with you. I still feel like I deserved one, like even a friendly, like against, I don't know, Armenia or someone like that. But it's what it is, isn't it? Like, think of the story I've just told you about my whole life, and the only negative I can say is I never got to play for England. Do you know what I mean? I climbed the mountain, and it's like I forgot to put the flag on the top. That's about it. Do you know what I mean? So I'm very, very comfortable with it, and I came up in a great era of strikers. So when I first broke in to the Prem, there was still Rudy was playing, Jermaine Defoe, Darren Bent, Crouchy. I'm trying to think through, but proper England vets. Yeah, Harry Kane around. Marcus burst onto the scene. There was loads, mate. It was tough, but I was in the conversation. That's good enough for me.
Forest Green didn't go to plan.
Yeah.
What are your reflections on that?
Great time. Reflection on that would be learning to think before you speak, which is something I don't really do too well, but something I'm trying to learn. And just on that, like, you see now they can. It's Tuesday today, isn't it? They could get relegated tonight. They could potentially get relegated tonight if Colchester get a result. I think it's just a draw Colchester need. But you look at that, and this is what I foreseen coming if the sharp change hadn't happened. And we had 6 games. First 5 were excellent. We can literally pinpoint moments where we were 2-0 up against Newport, and we have a man sent off. We lose the game 4-2. But 2-0, we are like, we should be 4-0 up. We're cruising. And bear in mind, everyone goes 6 games, and I think they think it was 6 weeks. It was 3 weeks. It was the quickest, like there was no training. It was just organised, set up, structure, go. And the week I ended up getting sacked was the actual first full week of training we did. And I remember coming, no, I didn't even come home. I phoned home because I took the staff out on the Thursday for a bite to eat. And I said to the staff, and I said to my partner, like, that's the best week's training we have. 100% we beat Gillingham on the weekend. I was just, there was nothing you could tell me that if we'd have lost to Gillingham like 5-0 that weekend, I probably would have spoke to Dale and went, sat me, mate, because I can't figure this out. Yeah. But we were there, like everything was trending in the right direction. If you use all of the stats and all of that kind of, I'm not too keen on it, but if you look at the stats, I was the most impactful manager over those 5 games, whatever that means. But we didn't get the wins, and then obviously the most part of it just comes from my frustration in people. One thing I hate with people is people that don't maximise who and what they are. I can't stand it. And it's not like, let's say, how do I put this quick one? So let's say you want to be a footballer. All you ever want to be is a footballer. And then you get signed by Forest Green Rovers. Now you've got it, and you're 24. Are you done? Or you've got to go, right, I've got to here, and I've got 10 years left in this game. Imagine if I worked really hard and I got to champ. Yeah. Let's say you've climbed the mountain, you've maximised everything you are. There's people that sit and watch, and let me be very respectful of what I'm saying. Someone like a Joel Ward at Crystal Palace, would anyone say he's one of the best right backs in the country? No, you wouldn't. It wouldn't go to anyone's conversation. He's played 10 years at right back in the Premier League.
That's incredible career.
But why is that though? Because he maximised his work rate, his effort. He's never late. He knows sometimes he'll be in the team, sometimes he'll be out. But when he's out the team, be ready to come in. Squeezed all of the orange. I have so much respect for people like that, as opposed to the more talented ones with like someone like Pogba, who's crazy talented. And not it comes easy because there's still a sacrifice that comes with it, but football's easy to him. I prefer to speak to a Joel Ward and how did you do that, and get my kids to start watching that. Do you get what I mean? Because that gives you a longevity. James Milner, another one. And that was my frustration at Forest Green. Like they've got really talented players. Really talented players. They've got an owner that pumps a lot of money in to give them the best of the best. The problem is they don't have that. Yeah. And what I mean by that is what we said earlier, they don't really want it. The idea of being a footballer is nicer than the reality, because what is the reality of a footballer? It's quite boring. Yeah. Eat, work, sleep, do it again. Yeah. That's it. You can't do this, you can't do that. You got to watch what you say, you got to do this, you got to do that. The reality of being a footballer is boring. The upside of it is obviously you get a nice house, get a nice car, loads of money, and you can retire at a relatively young age compared to the general public. Yeah. But there's a lot of stress and a lot of nonsense that comes with it. But all we're asking you to do is do more. And you can't do that. Yeah. That's where I get really frustrated. So I don't think, based on my looking and my learning over the last couple of months, there's not a huge difference between League 2 and League 1 in terms of player ability. There's a big difference between lower League 1 and top League 1. There's not a big difference between League 1, top of League 1 like a Portsmouth, and low champ. There's not a big difference. There's a massive difference between low champ and top champ, and then there's a chasm between champ and prem, as you're seeing at the moment, like with Sheffield United. I think Burnley just romp the champ, they go to the prem, and you get found out because the jump's just so big. And basically on what I just said, if you're bottom of League 2 but you have the ability to play in League 1 or Championship, and you can't turn up for work on time.
Yeah, crazy.
Like that's the bit. So reflection on that is, from a coaching point of view, was actually good. We got a lot of things done. It's more the managing up, understanding now you are the face of the club and you are the face of the team. So what you say reverberates 20-fold. And I've already got a big enough name. Like you look at the Ollie Watkins stuff. If I say something now, everyone wants to have a little dig anyway. So I need to be a bit more cautious. So that's the learning point to it. But it was a wonderful experience, and I wish the good people there at the club all the best in the future.
Jose Mourinho
Yes.
made like quite a famous comment about young players like these days. He said, I had to understand the difference between working with a boy like Frank Lampard, who by 23 was already a man, and the boys today who at the age of 23 are kids. Today I call them boys, not men.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that quote?
I agree with what he's saying. The reason and again, you have to be careful because people interpret things completely different. What he's saying by that is at 23, Lampard had played 200 games, 220 games, but close to 100 Prem games, had been already subjected to, he's fat, he's not good enough, all of that. We saw the famous interview at West Ham. And, he had to grow up. And anyone that knows Frank, and I've been fortunate enough to meet Frank on loads of occasions, his work rate and his desire to be the best is what stood him above the rest. He knew he had to be able to make the box. So I know this firsthand. After every training session for 15 years, 10 box-to-boxes after the session was done, because that's his game time stuff. So he's got to be tired. He needs to do that. A lot of these kids now, and I saw something the other day which was really good. It's called I forget the guy's name. It was a Portuguese coach, and he was talking about how the Brazilian national team has not got as much flair as it once had, and he calls it the perfect pitch syndrome. So everyone now has got perfect pitches, perfect gym schedules. You're told what to do, what not to do. But all the players that I certainly grew up on, Ronaldo, R9, Ronaldinho, Rivaldo, all those guys, and the pitches I played, there was bubbles. So you had to react, you had to think. How many kids you see play out in the street anymore? Hardly any. How many I used to know when I played football on the concrete, the biggest thing I couldn't do was scrape my knees because I didn't want to have to tell my mum that we needed a new pair of trousers. Do you know what I mean? But it was like that's what gave you the edge. You had to be creative because you might be playing football, but there's a car parked there. So, you'd make that the wall. Do you get what I mean? Like dumb stuff, but you had imagination, you had flair, and I think that the players of today are so drilled, and their football IQ is higher than any before, but it's very much the same. There's not much problem solving happening, and I think that's fundamentally what Jose is saying. It's go out, play 4-3-3. If you're losing 4-0 by half time, no one goes, right, we're 2-0 down now, let's get tight, let's figure it out. For the next 10 minutes, we've got to kick the ball in the channel and stop the bleeding. They still try and do the same things. Yeah. Look at Everton last night, still try to do the same things. End up coming in 4-0 down, then they go at half time. Well, you're the manager, you told me to do that, so I'm doing it. Yeah. And it's like, but you're on the pitch. Have you saw the Man City treble one? How many times do you hear Pep say, problem solve? Yeah. It gives you the structure, but problem solve. If something's not working, figure it out on the pitch. You're all good players. And I think that's the part that Jose's, in my interpretation of what he's alluded to, is that now kids are told how to play, how to do it, what to do. And then if it goes wrong, it was your fault because you told me. And there's a little bit of that is the kids, and a lot of that is the coaching. We're not really putting them in scenarios where they struggle from an early age, I would say.
What does the future hold for Troy Deeney? What's the plan now?
Oh, fucking good question. I've got loads going on. Media stuff, obviously, is doing really well. My daughter, and I've never spoke to anyone about it. You get some exclusives there. My daughter is doing really well in football. So she plays for Birmingham City at the moment, but she's on trial at Man City now. So she's she's becoming like my little project. My oldest son is nearly leaving school and he wants to be a chef, so I'm like doing a lot of dad stuff, man. I used to think I was like a good dad until I realised I did fuck all. So now I've really got to start catching up on time. Just trying to live life. You know, like, I get deep on this really quick, but I think the world's miserable. And if you turn the news on, it's miserable. If you go outside, everyone's complaining. I just want to be like, I just want to be happy, man. Chasing a pound note all the time, like, it's boring. It's boring. So I'd prefer to do things like, we stopped, I don't know if you noticed, we stopped doing interviews. I do interviews with people that I like. So I like your stuff, so I'll do it. Do you get what I mean? Like, I don't have to be here.
Yeah, of course.
So I've just started just enjoying myself, mate. So I'd love to get back into management. I'd love to have a proper go at it, not like a 3-week stint. But I know I can be successful at it. Just got to obviously apply yourself properly. Media-wise, I already know I'm good at that. So, you know, the offers are there to do that full time. And now just trying to enjoy some time. Like, my dad died at 47. I'm 36 in 2 months. I'm like, he was the biggest and strongest man I ever knew. So in my head, I got 11 years to make an impact on this world that's long lasting. So that is what the future holds for me so far. Having fun and just trying to be a better human, really.